October 13, 1913. Berkeley Daily Gazette, Berkeley, California. Young Footpads, Holdup man at point of gun. 3 youthful footpads, the oldest of whom believed to be not more than 16 years of age, held up and robbed W.S. Coleman of Hillegas Avenue shortly before 10 o'clock Saturday night. The holdup occurred at Benvenue and Stewart Streets. When the command was first given to halt and throw up your hands, Coleman thought the boys were playing. He laughed good-naturedly and walked on. The leader of the trio, however, stepped up and presented a gun in front of Coleman's face and informed him that the footpads were genuine and meant business. Coleman held his hands above his head, and the leader held his gun before the victim's face. The other 2 lads went through his pockets. A silver watch, a filled chain, and a gold Masonic charm were taken from him, together with a small amount of change. The footpads are described as between 15 and 16 years old. All are about the same build and weight, on the average of about 130 pounds each. All 3 wore caps. April 28, 1900, the Lewiston Daily Sun, Lewiston, Maine. Attempted robbery. Man threatens to shoot a young lady teller, but is scared away. Lynn, Massachusetts, April 28. Don't speak or make any noise, or I'll put a bullet through your brain. Count out $500 and be quick. Pass it to me without trouble. I have 2 friends watching us now, and any attempt to communicate with anyone will mean your death. This is what a note read that was handed to Harriet P. Houghton, teller at the Lynn 5-cent Savings Bank, Market Street, by an unknown, rough-looking man of medium size, shortly after noon. Miss Houghton did not pass out any money. Without thinking about possible shooting, she quietly reached to a button that sounds a call for the police. As she pushed it, she told the man who wanted to hold up the bank that she had sounded the alarm. He made a rush from the office and was lost on Market Street, although the police are looking for him. September 30, 1897. The Daily Reporter, Spencer Reporter, Spencer, Iowa. The News in Iowa. Gagged and Bound. Murphy Brothers, near Cascade, victim of daring robberies. Dubuque, September 24. About 4 miles southeast of Cascade live 2 brothers named Murphy. They are bachelors, live alone, and own considerable property, and are commonly supposed to have much of their wealth in the house. A neighbor had occasion to visit the house and found both men, bound and gagged, lying on the floor and utterly helpless. He released them, and they told a story of robbery that was exceptionally daring. Early in the afternoon, 2 men suddenly appeared at the door, assaulted, overpowered, and bound them. The fellows were masked, and after searching the house over for the large amount of money they supposed to be concealed there, they attempted, by threats, to make the brothers divulge its hiding place. This they did not do, and the robbers finally took everything they could find of value and gagged their victims. They took their time about leaving, first thoroughly rummaging the house over. They hitched up a gray horse belonging to the Murphys and drove away with it. January 6, 1906, North Montana Review, Glasgow, Montana. Bold Holdup artist. Mose Goldsmith of Seattle minus over $2,000. Crook had planned a deal to buy half interest in 2 opera houses. He got Goldsmith in hotel room and forced him to send out and get his checks cashed. Mose Goldsmith, theatrical booking agent and owner of the Strand Theater of Seattle, was held up in a room at the Lincoln Hotel, one of the most fashionable hostelries in Seattle, by a man who gave his name as Burke and made to pay over $2,750. It was one of the boldest and best planned coups ever turned in that city. Goldsmith had received a telephone call from Burke, who stated that he had a business proposition to make. A meeting was arranged in an uptown office. Burke said he was from Butte, Montana, and owned a half interest in the miner of that city. He declared he had $18,000 to invest and would like to buy an interest in Goldsmith's theatrical business. He showed what purported to be a draft on the Butte miner for that amount. Goldsmith said he would sell him an interest in his 2 vaudeville theaters in that city for that amount. It was agreed that Goldsmith should have the papers drawn up by his attorney. The next day, Goldsmith received a telephone call from Burke from the Lincoln Hotel asking him to come up and talk over the deal. Goldsmith and an employee named Cohen went to a room on the top floor. They were met by Burke, who stated that he wished to talk to Goldsmith personally. Cohen went to the office and Goldsmith remained with Burke. The first thing the latter did after Cohen left was to tell Goldsmith to read a letter lying on a table in the room. This letter stated that Burke needed $2,750 very badly, and if Goldsmith did not come through with that amount, his head would be shot off. Goldsmith turned to his companion and looked down the barrel of a Colt's revolver. "Write out a check for the amount," commanded Burke, "and send the hotel clerk to the bank for the money. $500 in gold, in the balance in $100 bills." Goldsmith did as told and called up Cashier Lane of the Scandinavian American Bank to say that the check was all right and to pay the same as directed. The hotel clerk was called to the room, Burke keeping Goldsmith covered and shielding the gun from the clerk's sight. After the clerk had gone, Burke told Goldsmith to order drinks for 2, which he did, and after the clerk returned with the money, he ordered 2 more, for which he made Goldsmith pay. Pocketing the money, Burke informed Goldsmith that he was a gentleman and shook hands with him. He also said he would not take Goldsmith's diamonds. He then made Goldsmith go into the bathroom and warned him to make no outcry for 15 minutes. He then locked the door and left. After waiting for about 10 minutes, Goldsmith began yelling and attracted the attention of a woman in the next room. The porter was sent for and Goldsmith was liberated. The police were notified at once and detectives placed on the case. Goldsmith describes Burke as being of medium height and fairly well dressed. His hair and mustaches were jet black and his eyes light blue, which causes Goldsmith to think he was disguised. Cashier Lane of the Scandinavian American Bank telegraphed to Butte and learned that no such man as Burke has any interest whatever in the miner. Chief Delaney says it is the cleverest piece of work in the history of the department.